Okay, so this is lesson 37, drawing pictures of fractions. I think fractions are kind of hard to draw, but I like to use Legos because they're nice, easy little same size units. So they're talking about drawing pictures of half. So the blue represents half of the whole entire square. Again, the blue represents the whole half of the whole entire square. I could change it up a little bit and do it that way. That represents a half. The blue is still half of that square. Let's look over here. The yellow is not half, is it? It's bigger than the blue. I have more yellows, so that can't be drawn that way. They wanted us to draw these squares, and I thought, how am I going to do this? So I used my little sticky note pad, and I made a line. I turned my paper sideways, because you know how Legos have those nice same size units? Well, these lines are the same spaces. They're the same size units. So if I drew my line, I thought, okay, I'll just make myself an amount here, and all my sides are the same. And so I can figure out how to draw a half. Then I realized, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, so I couldn't do it. So I folded my paper in half and come up here. And now I can shade half of my square. Okay, I decided to go a little bit smaller on the next one. And be more careful about how many lines I did. So they want me to draw a half again. So I just 1, 2, 1, 2. So I know I have a half shaded here just because I used the lines on the paper to help me. Another thing that you can do that's really easy is you can go from corner to corner. If you have a nice square, if you're sure you have a square, oops, mine didn't turn out so straight. That's half and that's half, isn't it? How do I know that? I can take my paper. Look, here's a square. If I fold it exactly, I have the same amount on this side and same amount on this side. So one triangle is half of the whole entire square. And then they mentioned that this does not represent a half because I have a bigger side and a smaller side. If I'm trying to draw a half, they should both be equal. Example 2 says draw a rectangle and shade a third of it. You're talking my game with rectangles because you can use the lines on a paper. So I drew a rectangle and I wanted to shade exactly half of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would have to go halfway down the middle. And I don't know that that's exactly, so let's be more careful and let's make sure that our half line falls on a blue line. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that is exactly half. And I can shade this. Now they want me to do a third. Actually, I think that's what they wanted me to do all along. Okay, so I'm going to divide it into 3 equal sections and shade one of them. Remember what we talked about, that the denominator, the bottom number, is how many groups you're going to divide it into, and the numerator is how many you're going to shade, right? Okay, I'm going to do the same thing, show 1/3 a different way. So I've got 1, 2, 3 equal groups. I'm going to shade one of them. Do I need to draw these lines to show you? I'm just following right along the lines on the paper. And that is really helpful when you're drawing out fractions. Example 3 says, and luckily they're not making us draw circles because I'm not very good at that. A circular courtyard is made of white stone and blue stone. If 1/2 of the courtyard is made of blue stone, which could not represent the courtyard? So how many groups is A? Let's see, divided into. Let me get a pencil so I don't mark on my book. We'll start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 groups. How many are blue? Oh, 4 blue. So could that be a half? So remember, the numerator has to be half of the denominator. I have 8 groups and 4 half. So that equals 1/2. So that could represent. Let's see, B. How many little pieces of the pie have I cut it into? Start there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 again. And how many blues are shaded? 2. Is 2 half of 8? Nope. So that couldn't be it. Let's look at C. Same 8, and I've got 4 out of 8 shaded, so that could be it. I've got 4 out of 8 shaded, so that could be a half. So the only one that could not be a half is B, because I don't have half of the pieces shaded. I don't know, this doesn't seem like that complicated a lesson, other than remembering that you have to get each piece the same size when you're drawing fractions. And in order to do that, use the lines on your paper to help you. Unless they tell you to, you don't have to draw circles. You can use rectangles. Rectangles are much easier to draw. So, good luck.